Hi, welcome to Citizen Survival Plan. Welcome back if you've been here before. In today's video, we are going to do a beginner's guide to just understanding GMRS radio. If you're new to radio and you are trying to figure out where you want to start, GMRS is where you want to start, and then you can get into ham radio. So without further ado, let's just get started with the basics. What is GMRS radio? GMRS stands for General Mobile Radio Service. GMRS does require a $35 license. There is no test involved, and you basically just buy it from the FCC. You are going to need a GMRS license if you are going to jump onto the repeaters, which we are going to explain a little later in this video. GMRS Simplex channels are shared with FRS radios. So the regular old radios you see at Walmart or at Dick's Sporting Goods or somewhere like that, those are typically FRS radios, and they are not capable of an offset or connecting to repeaters. So Simplex is simply just walkie-talkie mode, radio to radio. They typically operate at lower power and do not have removable antennas. So when you get an actual GMRS radio, you'll get 5 watts of transmitting power as opposed to a half a watt of transmitting power. As stated before, a removable antenna, so you can upgrade the antennas to longer and better and higher gain antennas, however you want to configure that antenna for the environment that you are in. So before we get into too much repeater discussion, what is a radio repeater? This is one of the biggest questions that people have when they get a GMRS radio. They see repeater channels and they hear people talking about it and they don't quite understand it. A repeater simply is just a radio tower that someone like me, an enthusiast, I have one, has set up at their home or up on a mountain or on a piece of property. And it is a taller, more powerful piece of radio equipment. It takes your radio signal and essentially boosts it over a larger area. Repeaters are typically sitting higher up, overlooking an area, and operate on more power than your handheld. A repeater drastically extends your range beyond transmitting radio to radio on the ground. The repeater operates inversely of your radio. So your radio, when you're on a repeater channel, you'll jump from 462 to 467 on those final 15 to 22 channels. And the repeater is listening where you're transmitting, and then the repeater is spitting out on your listening channel. So everything is just opposite with the repeater. And everyone can jump on and talk on these repeaters as long as you have a license. Let's do a demo of simplex transmission, and then let's do a demo of repeater transmissions. Okay, this is simplex transmitting. Both these radios are on channel 15, and on this radio, I just have it on frequency display. You can see when I key up, I am not jumping frequency. That's going to come up in a second. We're going to jump frequency when we turn this into a repeater mode. So simplex is just one frequency, and you transmit back and forth on a single channel. Okay, this is repeater transmitting, and you can see this is on the same channel still, GMRS 15, but it's not going to pick this radio up right now because it's not going through a repeater. And when I key up, you are going to see that lower number jump frequency. It's jumping up frequency. And you can also tell because it's got a plus sign. That means this radio has a positive offset on it. Ham radios can do negative offsets, but that's for another discussion. So this radio is listening on that simplex 462550, but when I key it up, it would transmit up to the repeater. Let's do one more demo. Okay, this is our final demo. This box is a repeater, and it's my repeater. I'm just going to briefly show you how this works in another way. This is a radio, and you'll see I am sitting on 462.550. This radio transmits where I'm listening, but when I transmit, it is receiving on 467. So you'll see my radio jump to 467 where the repeater is receiving, and it's going to spit it back out on those listening channels. Okay, now we're going to jump into CHIRP. That is a free radio programming software that is the standard for programming all analog radios. A quick note here, if you're going to buy a GMRS radio or any radio off Amazon, check to make sure it is in CHIRP first. CHIRP is really the only and best radio programming software to use. Okay, we're going to take a brief look at this channel chart inside of CHIRP, and this can be found inside the stop configurations that are inside of CHIRP. So if you ever have a ham radio or something, you can simply copy all of these frequencies right into a ham radio, basically turning a ham radio into a GMRS or FRS radio. You're going to see CHIRP has this in here, FRS 1 to 22, and it's all going to be on narrowband FM. That is just the restriction for that. And you're going to see it's all down on 2 watt and a half a watt in the middle there. These are some channel restriction rules for FRS radio, but I've talked about this ad nauseum on our channel. A lot of these rules don't matter that much if you push a little extra power on them, as nothing on FRS or GMRS radio is almost ever enforced unless it's on a repeater. So we'll scroll down a little bit more to the GMRS section of this. This would be really the only section that you're going to copy and paste into your radio. And let's go ahead and look at these repeater channels. This is what a offset looks like inside of CHIRP. So obviously this first one here is 462-550. That's the one my repeater's on. And it's got a plus, just like we showed you in the radio earlier. And it's +5. And you'll see this is the offset. And when you're in CHIRP, when you click plus on anything GMRS, like if you have a GMRS frequency in there, it will automatically put that 5 there. So it will calculate it for you. And I want to point back to this really quick just before we get off of this chart. How I said 15 to 22 on the GMRS is the same as the repeater channels. And if you look, the channel that it actually sits on is identical. The difference is just this offset that we have set on those channels. When you transmit, it will transmit up frequency. So this is something I just wanted to show. I just wanted to show you the kind of internal guts of one of these radios. And you can do this too simply by downloading the internal of your radio and just uploading it into CHIRP, and you could see it all spread out like this. All right, the last thing you're going to need to know to get started in this is how to input a repeater. So we're going to go ahead and just show you an example of a repeater that you would find maybe on mygmrs.com. You can also use CHIRP, and we're going to show you this channel. This is GMRS in frequency display mode. We're going to go ahead and just show you how to actually program that in. So we're going to go into our menu, and this is simple as that. This is an actual GMRS radio, so it comes with the offset already on that channel. So all that you need to do is put in the tones. And the tone for that was 151.4, and if you look, it's in there twice. So what we need to do is, this is the receive, and it's just the first one on the menu. And we are going to scroll up to 151.4, and we're going to hit menu again on it, and it's set. Now we're going to go do the exact same thing on transmit CTCSS. These are analog, and there's also digital, but if it's a digital, you basically just do the exact same thing. You would just do the exact same thing. You would just choose the transmit DCS and the receive DCS, and you would simply just set it to the corresponding tones that that repeater would be using. One quick thing I want to mention before we close this video out is GMRS also allows for base stations to be used up to 50 watts on channels 15 to 22 and the repeater channels. I have an entire video on the benefits of a base station, but for this video today, we thought it was important just to stick to a basic handheld. Well, that about covers it for today. I hope you got something and learned something from this video, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.